morning, everyone. We're going to just give it a couple of minutes so everyone can join, and then we will start our program. Good morning, everyone. We're just going to wait another 30 seconds and we're going to start our program, just letting everyone come in. Okay, why don't we start? So good morning, everyone. I'm Anthony Forgione, the Director of Business Development for the HIA-LI. I want to welcome you all to the New York State COVID Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program, which is really a wonderful program, and you're going to hear all about it very shortly. Before we begin, I do want to thank our board of directors, some who are on this call today. Our board has been very supportive of us since our history, but extremely supportive of us during the whole COVID pandemic. So we really appreciate everything they do for us, and we want to thank our board. A couple of programs that are coming up. Next week, June 22nd, we have a special program featuring the future of tourism, an airport update. We have the supervisor, Tana Islip, the commissioner for the Islip Airport. I would urge everyone to register for that. It's going to be very enlightening of what's going on. July 19th, we have our golf outing, which we're very excited about. The afternoon is sold out. Now we have a morning session. And September 21st is our Business Achievement Awards, which likely will be in person this year. So we're very excited about that. And we still are taking applications for the Business Achievement Awards. And we're very happy to report that on October 14th, we will have our trade show back live. And more information will be going out for that. So with all that said, let me once again welcome you all to the New York State COVID Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program. I'm going to introduce right now Wei Min, who is the Senior Director of Business and Economic Development for Empire State Development, who will go over the program with everyone. Also, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A field and we will get them answered at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for the presentation and for the invitation to join the Hall-Park Industrial Association's members meeting. I appreciate the time you're going to spend with me and learning about the grant program. It's a great program, like Anthony mentioned, and I'm going to share my slides right now, so I'm going to update the screen. Just hold on with me for a moment. Okay, is this visible for everybody?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, great. Thank you so very much. So I'm going to begin without further ado about the specific of the COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program. It's $800 million that is being made available for all eligible applicants, which you're going to find out in this presentation, 4 major aspects of the program: who can apply, how do you apply, what do you need to apply, and also next steps. And this particular deck, as you may notice, for those who are eagle eyes, 40 pages long. However, I'm only going to speak in specific terms, the first 12 pages of the presentation. You can find this complete guide if you'd like to follow along or basically print out a copy after the event. It's actually located at the application portal for this program at www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com. Once again, the portal is www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com. And I'm going to repeat the webpage throughout the presentation and also offer a toll-free number that you can check out if you're interested in calling with specific questions. So what is the COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program? It's a program that was created to provide flexible grant assistance to currently viable small businesses, micro businesses, and for-profit independent arts and cultural organizations in the state of New York who have experienced economic hardship due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, that sentence that I completed was a mouthful, and there are three major words in it that I'd like you to pay attention to that I'm going to walk you through as I go along. The word viable small businesses, micro businesses, and for-profit independent organizations, and also the word basically have experienced economic hardship due to COVID-19 and flexible grant financing. So basically, those are the three major aspects of the program that is distinct from other program out there right now that I'd like you to focus on. And once again, once you go to the portal and you apply, this will be the grant amounts that you'll be eligible for if you do submit your application and is selected for awards. So if you have a gross receipt of $25,000 to $49,999 in the year 2019, you automatically will get $5,000 if selected. If you have a gross receipt in 2019 based on your IRS tax returns of $50,000 to $99,999, you automatically get a $10,000 per business. Also, if you have revenues of between $100,000 to $500,000 in your tax returns filed in 2019, you'll get up to 10% of your gross receipts. So, for example, if you have a $500,000 revenue, you are eligible for a $50,000 maximum from the program. And if you gross less than that, it'll be a proportion of 10%. So, for example, if you gross $250,000, the grant amount will be $25,000. Now, I want to mention that it says here per business. So if you own more than one business and they have distinctive EIN number, or if you are Schedule C filer, if you have another form for another business that you supply with the Schedule C that is distinct from the first business, then you can apply for more than one grant, as long as they are separate and independently owned by you. Exactly who is a small business, a micro business, or a for-profit independent arts and cultural organization that could be eligible for the program? A small business is defined by New York State as someone who is operating with license registered to do business in the state of New York, who is independently owned, operated, and not dominant in its field, and has fewer than 100 employees. And same definition, except for the employee numbers, is applicable to the micro business. So if you are independently owned, licensed, doing business in the state of New York with fewer than 10 employees, then you are a micro business. That is important only for prioritization of the awards, which I'll talk about in a different slide. So if you're a for-profit independent arts and cultural organization interested in this program, you shall be a small, medium-sized private for-profit business operating a live performance venue, promoting production company, or performance-related business located in the state of New York that has been negatively impacted by COVID health and safety protocols and have fewer than 100 full-time equivalent employees. So that means that if you typically run a business that only have part-timers or seasonal employees because of the nature of your business, you can add up all your employee work hours. 40 hours equal one full-time equivalent employees. So just add how many people constitute that 40 hours per week, and then you get your number for up to 100 employees, then you're good to go for the grant program. So if you also are a lover of theater or entertainment and you know that they were severely impacted during COVID, please reach out to those entities as you walk along, stroll along on your regular walks. Let them know about the program. We will greatly appreciate it. We'd like to make sure that small businesses that are struggling in that industry is also going to survive. So we're thinking about the architectural businesses, dance, design, film, music, theater, opera, media, literature, museum activity, visual arts, folk arts, and casting companies, particularly in the for-profit independent arts and cultural organizations. And lastly, all applicants must prove that they have been impacted by COVID-19 health and safety protocols. That means that if you were asked by an Executive Order 202 of 2020, issued by Governor Cuomo, or any other extension after the first executive order was issued, and you were impacted and you had to reduce your hours, you have to close, or you have to pause for a few days, all of that that could be proven by the extended consequences of the executive order, then you have been impacted by COVID-19 health and safety protocols. I believe there will be very few businesses on the call probably who were not impacted. Now, I just want to say, if you are thinking, great, this program is good for me, I'm going to learn more about it, also think about 10 other businesses or 10 other friends that own businesses or 10 other people you may know who could use the grant. Please share the information as you gather specific for your own application. So now I'm going to walk you through the eligible business qualifications. So for small businesses, micro businesses, and for-profit independent arts and cultural organizations, you must prove that you're currently viable and have begun operation on or before March 1st of 2019. So if you started your business in 2020, you will not be able to apply for this grant. We are looking for applicants that were running a business as of March 1st, 2019, and that you continue to be in operation as the date of the application. Now, how do you prove that you're a viable business? We have come up with a definition that is easy to calculate and fair across the board. A viable business is determined to be an applicant that has a positive net profit in your 2019 tax return of at least $1 or greater. So if your tax return that you filed with the IRS in 2019 showed a negative net income, unfortunately, you are not defined as viable for this program. If you only gross $2 in 2019 on your bottom line net income line, then you are deemed viable for the purpose of this program. An eligible applicant also have to show, in order to be eligible, that they got impacted by COVID-19. And how would they prove that for this program? You show that you had a loss of 25% or greater when comparing your tax return file for 2020 to the 2019 set that you filed. So for businesses that file 1120 or 1065, that will be your line 1A for both tax returns. And for 1040 Schedule C filers, that'll be the line 1 on your form as well. Now, your revenue for this program must be between $25,000 to $500,000 per annum. Like I mentioned before when I talked about the amounts you could be selected to be awarded. This example basically does also include those businesses in 2019 that may have gross total greater than $500,000. So, for example, if you are a dental practice that had a $1.5 million gross receipts in 2019, but in 2020, because people felt reticent and did not want to go into an office setting, particularly for health checkup with dental work, your gross revenue reduced dramatically to be $500,000 or less. Then basically you suffer greatly, and you can obviously demonstrate in this example that was greater than 25%, then you are still eligible even if your revenue gross receipts in 2019 was larger than the $500,000 threshold. So just think about businesses that may have even greater than 25% impact, and you can still apply. But if you want to make sure, you can call the toll-free number, which I'll provide at the end of the presentation to inquire your specific case. So you also must demonstrate, like I said, the $1 viable net income, which you can find on line 28 on 1120, line 22 in 1065, and line 31 on your Schedule C if you file sole proprietorship forms. So these are the specific. You also must demonstrate when you get awarded the grant that your expenses in 2020 were actually greater than the amounts you got awarded. If your expenses, for example, if you were awarded a $10,000 grant because you grossed under $99,999 and you fulfilled the requirements of the program, but your total expenses was only $5,000, then you'll be maxed out at $5,000. You also have to be in substantial compliance with applicable laws, federal, state, local levels, regulations, codes, and requirements of your business operation. You also must not owe any federal, state, local taxes prior to July 15 of 2020, unless you have a moratorium in place covered by an approved repayment plan, a deferred plan, or any other applicable agreement that you have with the federal, state, or local taxing authority. Also, you must not have qualified for any business grant assistance program under the Federal American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 or any other available federal COVID economic recovery or business assistance grant program, including loans forgiven under the PPP program or if you feel like you're unable to obtain sufficient business assistance for such federal programs. So there are exceptions to this particular language that I just mentioned. This was dictated by the legislation that empowered the grant program. We have exception to this. So if you're an applicant who did apply for PPP Round 1 or PPP Round 2 or both, and have gotten the loan or have gotten forgiveness from the loan, as long as the total amount that you received is $100,000 or less, you're eligible still to apply for the program. Also, if you have applied to the COVID-19 HIA-LI Advanced Grant Program of less than $10,000 that you received, you are eligible for the program. In addition, if you actually also did get the supplemental HIA-LI COVID grant, targeted advanced grant of $5,000 or less, you're also still eligible for the program. If you did receive all three under the amount that I mentioned, you're eligible for the program. And also, if you are a venue that was shuttered and you apply for the SBA Charter Venue Operator Grant in any amount, you are eligible for the program. Applicants must provide evidence acceptable to the state of New York that they are currently operational and that they're not restricted by any state, local, or other agency mandate. Now, due to a limited amount of funding, even though $800 million sounds like a big number, it is for the entire state and small businesses, micro businesses, and arts organizations that could apply. So we do expect that there will be a high volume of requests. So we will prioritize awards based on your business type, geography, industry that may factor into your availability to receive a grant. So not all applicants that apply will receive a grant. But if you do apply and submit all the documentation supporting your case and you do get selected, you'll receive an email saying, yes, you've been awarded, and you'll be required to upload funding information so you can receive all the disbursement in electronic format. Now, until you get an email saying that, no, unfortunately, you are not awarded, you are still in the running, even if you do not hear back in the first couple of weeks when they do the first award selection pool. Once you do actually apply, beyond what I just mentioned for prioritization, we will also be given priority to socially and economically disadvantaged business owners. That includes, but not limited to, minority and woman-owned businesses. They do not have to be certified in order to meet this qualification for prioritization. You could also be a service-disabled veteran-owned businesses, businesses located in communities that were economically distressed prior to March 1st of 2020, as determined by the most recent census data. Now, for everyone who may have joined us not at the beginning of the presentation, I'd like to emphasize that this is a lot of detailed information about the program, and you may or may not have heard all of it from the very beginning. You can find the whole entire deck of this particular presentation on the portal at www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com, and you can click on Program Guide. Currently, there are two versions available of Program Guide, one in English and the other one in Spanish. There will be other languages available at the end of the week or by early next week if you're interested in getting it in 12 other languages that is available. And at this point, I also want to highlight that when you do visit the website and you feel that this is a lot, even though I took the webinar and I read it, I still have questions and I'm not sure I'm comfortable doing this, there will be lots of resources to help you out in filling out the application or to advise you how to proceed. So there are two ways. One is you could call the 1-800 number that I'm going to give you now. It's 1-877-721-0097. Once again, the toll-free number to call for specific questions about your program eligibility, or basically to get assistance on the portal, or to find a partner that could work with you one-on-one for free and make a scheduled appointment for either going through the application, or maybe you can go personally if one of them are open physically for you to be helped if you have difficulty with your phone or you have technology that doesn't allow you to update the document in PDF format. You can make an appointment with a resource partner by calling 1-877-721-0097 and ask for a resource partner in your region by language or basically just by a location. You can also locate those on your own, either going to the portal website at www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com. Click on the selection that says Find a Partner, and located by language or by region. You definitely can call more than one place if you feel like you like to talk to more than one practical resource partner about your specific case to make an appointment. So who are ineligible for the program? Nonprofits, churches, and religious institutions are not eligible. Government-owned entities or elected official offices. Businesses primarily engaged in political or lobbying activities. Businesses that received awards from the SBA Restaurant Revitalization Grant Program. Landlords and passive real estate income businesses. Illegal businesses and enterprises. And other industry and business types as specified by Empire State Development. So now I'm going to walk you through what is required as proof of operating and still viable in the state of New York in terms of documentation. So we will need a whole full copy of your 2020 business income tax returns and also as well 2019 full business income tax returns. Like I said before, for corporations and LLCs, you must provide your IRS Form 1120. For partnership, you'll be the Form 1065 and Schedule K-1S. For sole proprietors, we need the full return of IRS Form 1040 and Schedule C. So once you are interested in the program and you find yourself eligible after this webinar presentation, please go collect your 2019 and 2020 full sets of tax returns. And if you are applying and you submit the documentation and there are some questions answer questions on your tax returns, we may come back to you to ask you to complete the IRS Form 4506-C if requested. Now you see here, Lendistry is mentioned. Lendistry is an organization that is selected by ESD to facilitate the application portal and all the customer service care component of the program. And they are going to be the administrator of the grant program. And they are a fintech company. And so pretty much you will be interfacing with them. So if you do submit your application and it's completed, the first step would be they will send you an email confirming the complete application. If they have questions about certain things you may have answered and incomplete or you're still missing something, they'll let you know what's missing. But you must check your spam filter, your inbox, and your junk mail to check for an email from lendistry.com. No emails will be coming directly from New York State or Empire State Department for this program. So very important. Make sure that you locate email spam folders and filters and make sure you allow emails from lendistry.com. The second documentation set you must provide is 2 documents from the following list that will show proof of your business location and that currently you're operating. So what are the list documents? You could get 2 of the current. You could get 2 documents from a list of either current lease, your utility bills, your current bank statements, your current business mortgage statements, your business credit card statements, your professional insurance bills, your payment processing statements, such as your master business cards, Visa processing payment cards, any other format that you use to get paid, including third-party software processing companies. Also, you could also show New York State ST 809 or ST 100 self-tax collection documentation that you provide either quarterly or monthly. So any 2 combination of this documents will help you satisfy the requirement. Program overview continues with the required documentation. Any business owner that owns more than 20% of your business shall be required to provide information for the program application. You must list the names, address, social security numbers, and for any non-U.S. owners, we will require that you provide individual taxpayer ID numbers as well as the IRS Form CP-565 to show that you are legally operating and paying taxes for your business year. So basically, just make sure that all the owners that own more than 20% is aware of the application and provide those documentation as soon as you gather those to upload those. You also need to prove the number of employees if you have employer business, and you will submit then the New York State 45 document for employer firms. And the next thing to prove is your business organization. We must have one of the following documents, which is a current business license or a current business certificate or a certificate of authorization, or a certificate of DBA assumed name, or a New York State certificate of authority, or articles of incorporation. New York State municipality issued documents showing authorization to operate in the state of New York. And lastly, when you're ready to receive your money, there are going to be two ways for you to show how you can receive money. One is providing a direct deposit into an electronic account through your regular bank, or if you are subscribing to a service like PLAID, which is a service that will allow you to provide basic info, and they already have an account set up with you, where the lenderstreet.com folks, when they're about to send you the money, they can verify your account, your personal info, and all that pretty easily. That would be the preferred choice. But if you do not have an account set up with the PLAID, you could just do the traditional way of electronic transfer funds by providing a bank account info and IRS Form W-9. Once you receive the funds, how can you use the money? What is eligible uses of funds? Well, all dollars received under the grant program must be used only for COVID-19 related expenses that were incurred between March 1st, 2020 and April 1st, 2021. So they include payroll costs, commercial rent, mortgage payments for New York State-based property, but not for any rent or mortgage prepayments. So you cannot use it for any prepayments of any expense for rent or mortgages. You could also use the fund to pay for your local property, school taxes associated with a small business location in the state of New York. You can use the fund to pay insurance costs, utility costs, costs for PPEs necessary to protect yourself, workers, consumer health and safety, HVAC, heating, ventilation, and AC upgrades or replacements, or basically reconditioning of the property to make sure that it's complying with the PPE requirements of the safe and safety health guidelines. Also, you can use the funds for acquisition of machinery and equipment costs. You could use the funds for supplies, materials necessary to comply for COVID-19 health and safety protocols. Also, any other documented typical use of your business that is not listed here. If you'd like to solicit for approval, you could do that as long as there are typical expenses for your type of business. Now, at this point, I also want to highlight for those businesses that are applying for the grant, and if they have account receivable that are in arrears from businesses that do business with you or clients who may owe you funds, if they are incurred between March 1st and April 1st of 2021, so March 1st, 2020 to April 1st of 2021, you could encourage those businesses and individual businesses, sole proprietor, to apply for the grant program if they're eligible, so that they can use those funds to pay you back in arrears receivable payments. So ineligible use of funds are any proceeds that you may have received for for federal loan programs related to COVID-19 relief, or any state business assistance loan programs that you may have received loan money for. You cannot use any of the funds to repay any of those loans that are stipulated here. So no repayments of loan payments impacted by COVID-19. So that is the overview of the program. I'm going to walk you through quickly the next steps. Once you apply, what happens. So when you actually go to the portal, once you find yourself eligible, you will sign up an account, and you will fill out the application with questions that you have to fill in. Those questions, if you have questions about the questions, you can click on an icon next to the question that has a little circle that has an eye on it. You click on it, there will be a video to speak to that particular question for clarification. For other people who may need translation or subscription services, you can click on settings, just like you would if you're on a YouTube video, and you can translate the content of that video into 12 other languages. I will tell you what the languages are when I get to the slide that has them listed, because I don't have it memorized. Now, once you do submit the application, before you do that, you have to sign off on application certification, which is this section. So how do you do that? Let me show you what it looks like. So there will be these pages that repeats what I may have mentioned about the eligibility. You just attesting to the fact that you're eligible for the program and you use the money for the conditions that I mentioned before. You can download this, print it out, sign it, and scan it back and upload it, or you can sign it on electronically form, and which it tells you here how to do that. You can read that section at your own pace, just to figure out how to download or scan it back and exactly read the question so you can actually read it in bigger font than what I show you right now. And once you do that, you upload it, and basically the program guide gives you very specific tips on your computer on what format and what best setup for you to upload easily and smoothly. So please read those sections so it can help you with the completion of the application. Some tips for applying. These tips relate, a lot of them, to technology. So we suggest you use Google Chrome as the app to go to the portal. Here it gives you additional information how to clear your cache, historical browsing information, and also privacy ways to open the portal. So please do read this section to make sure that you're comfortable with the technology part of the application. Like I said before, if you're not comfortable with the technology part of the application, we have 69 technical assistance providers throughout the whole state that you can call, make an appointment, talk to them on the phone one-on-one, or show up physically if they're open for business physically in a location for you to go to actually be able to do that. And if you do have an old phone that doesn't allow you to click on the application on your phone, you can, like I said, call the 1-877-721-0097 number to request for partner assistance by asking them for a phone number to call to set up an appointment. So these slides just go through specifically a screenshot about how you're going to encounter the setup tips for the application. And I will also emphasize all documents that we ask you to upload has to be in PDF format. So if you don't have PDF, you could download the application for free. And here are a couple of resources here that you could click on to download the app in either Android format or Apple format for your phone. And like I say here on the screenshot here, the correct format to upload all your stuff is upright, like the top one, not as a picture, not if it's not legible, because then you're going to be delaying your application. All documents submitted would have to be under 15 megabytes, so make sure that you can state it for a format that is readable under 15 megabytes. It's very critical that you set up a valid email address to receive notification and also check your filters for receiving these emails. So here are examples of what kind of email is good and what kind of email is not good. So if you are having issue figuring out whether the current email address you have is a good one for this particular application, you're also welcome to just set up a new account just to get all the communication to this portal. Here are the languages that I mentioned before. So there are 12 languages that you can click on once you get to the web page. On the right top corner, once you get there, there are languages that you can select for your comfort, and you can translate the whole entire web page into these 12 languages: Spanish, Chinese, Russian, Yiddish, Bengali, Korean, Haitian Creole, Italian, Arabic, Polish, Hindi, and German. So if any of your community members do need language services, you'll be easily available by clicking a button on the right-hand corner. And once you get to the program guide, like I said, right now there's a language ability for Spanish. There will be one further coming down next week for all the other 12 languages. So what's in the application? I'm not going to go through each of the application sections because I mentioned before what's required to fill in. So you will check and you will read it and see what specific personal info you may want to gather for all the business owners after you set up the account. Once you go to the portal, you set up the account. There may be a small wait because there may be people who are trying to get on at the same time. The wait time so far has been less than 5 minutes, so just be patient if you see that you may have to wait 5 minutes because, like, for example, here, there may be 2,340 people going on at the same moment that you're trying to download the app as well as download the setup for your account. So you may have to wait a few moments, but you will get notified, and you'll also be able to upload pretty quickly once you get on it. So these are the sections where it talks about the documents that are required for you, the owner details. So my tip for you is to gather all this detail in your little notebook. So when you get to the portal, you just fill it in. So you're not looking to and from the website to the people. So write it down, and then so it's really quickly uploaded once you fill in the information that is requested. So I'm going to scroll through the page where it talks about the payments, and we are almost done. So once you actually complete all the sections, you'll receive the email, and I want to show you what the email looks like before I go to the payment. So when you get an email from Lendistry, you will look like, let's see, it'll look like this email right here. So if you receive an email that has an icon at the top that says Empire State Development and Lendistry, and also the content looks similar to this page, then that is a good message and a true one coming from Lendistry, because I know there are a lot of spam out there and people scamming folks. They may be looking to see ways to get information. So make sure that you take a look, and then that your page looks like this, and there are general questions with phone numbers here. So if an email comes that looks like this, then you're on the right track. You could also call the toll-free number if you lose your password, or if you have a question about the portal, or that you don't see something on the portal. You can call that 1-877-721-0097 number to get all the info that you may need or assistance with the technology on the portal. So if you upload the document and you want to know, am I done? Am I complete? So you'll be able to see the icons on the right-hand side here that are in green and orange. If it's in green, you're good. If everything is green, you're done. If you see anything that's still in red or orange color, check it and see what you can do to upload those documents up there. Lastly, you're selected. Yay! Once you're selected and you want to get your funds, like I said, there are two ways. There's PLOID, which takes you through the 3 steps and getting that complete, or you're going to have to set up a bank account. Now, if you don't have a bank account with the routing numbers and you don't do electronic fund transfer, you can call one of the partner resources that I mentioned before. They can refer you to a banking institution that can set up an account for you, or you can open a bank account with a local credit union. Lastly, just to be reminded, the website to go to for all the info that I just went through, which is very detailed and specific, and I'm sure it was a lot to take notes on. Don't worry, you did not miss anything. Just go to www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com. Once again, www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com, and also call the 1-877-721-0097 number between Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for any questions that you may have. And at this point, I would like you to pause and think about who else could benefit from this program in your neighborhood or your community or your families. I know that it's been difficult for everybody dealing with COVID impacts, and small businesses particularly who have not been open for a while but now is operating. I would like to make sure that they know about the program. They can get assistance up to $50,000. So thank you so very much for taking the time to listen to this program, and as well to share the good news with people who can use it. And now I'd like to open up for questions if there are any.
We have a couple of questions, and by the way, thank you very much for all that. Now, I know that was a lot of information, but a lot of important information. Also, I want to remind everyone that this program is being recorded, so it will be available on our website, and we probably will post it on our social media. So you'll be able to watch it again if you like. We have a couple questions. One you answered already with one of the slides. Then we have another question that says, the eligible expenses have already been paid, or are they only expenses that have been around, that have been incurred but have not been paid yet?
Mm-hmm. Very good question. So as long as the expense was incurred between the period I mentioned, March 1st of 2020 and April 1st of 2021, if they have been paid, as long as they are not a duplicate payment, that you may have utilized another grant funds like a PPP, proceeds or any of the IEDA money, as long as it's not repeat payment of the same expense that were paid by another grant entity, yes, you can pay back. You can reimburse for that expense. Now, if there are expenses in arrears that you have not paid and you like to settle those, you could pay with this new proceeds. And also, like I said, you should encourage all your accounts receivable if they're having difficulty paying you right now to apply for the grant and pay you for the expense incurred during that period. Okay.
When does the program begin? So in other words, when can people start applying, and is there a cutoff date? Is it between a certain couple of months that you'll be accepting applications?
The program began last Thursday,
Okay,
June 10th, I believe. It's open for applications. So there are a few people who may have completed the application and it's on the portal. The money is going to be available until it runs out. So I cannot tell you when the money will run out. You can apply later if you don't have time to deal with this, but the problem is you may not be able to get to the funding if somehow by the time they review your application, the money is at the tail end. So I recommend highly for all those who, by this point, if you sat through my 35-minute presentation, you probably have a clear idea whether you can apply or not apply. So if you think you can apply, the documentation list is not too exhaustive. There are like maybe 5 or 7 different documents you need to provide for the satisfaction of viable gross receipts, and also documenting that you're operating in New York State and you're currently operating without any restrictions. So basically, just get those documents ready and apply as soon as possible, because I cannot tell you when. There's no cutoff date. I mean, in terms of the program cutoff date for applications. But if you apply this month, so we are on June 17th. So if you apply this month, by the end of the month, there will be a review for selection and awards in early July. So at least you'll be in the same pool for the first round, at least. There's no like a cutoff date, like I said, but just apply as soon as possible.
right. Just like the SBA, you should apply as soon as you can.
Exactly, because no one's going to tell you whether the money's going to run out within like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, or 4 months. But I imagine as a grant program, so it's popular enough.
Okay. Can funds be used to pay down regular bank debt?
No, no refinancing, no repayment of loans, unless you used it to pay, for example, maybe some people had taken out a personal loan to pay for payroll, maybe for their employees during that period, because they didn't get enough PPP funds because they only got 2.5 months, or whatever reason it is, and they took out a regular loan, or for their personal accounts or something. Then as long as it was used for payroll and that was not duplicative with any other funds you received for grants, you could use it for that, but just make sure you demonstrate it in documentation for yourself when you get asked to provide it, if you are going to be selected to be audited for documentation.
Okay. This one I do not know the answer for. On Schedule C distributions count as payroll? Do Schedule C distributions count as payroll?
That is a question that we have encountered before. We suggest that you use the funds for other uses first, because it's only up to 10% of expenses. So use that for that one, because that one is a little bit questionable for us. It's a little difficult to prove. Mm-hmm.
And those are all the questions I see so far. I know someone did say when we open to submit the application. Obviously, we answered that because you should submit it as soon as possible. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so right now, if you just want to take a look after the call, just click on that link I gave you, the nysmallbusinessrecovery.com. Go on, at least set up your account. You know, when you have time to go and answer all the application questions, you can go back. Or if you just want to set up the account, your password, username, and all that stuff, set it up, and then take a look at the question being asked. If you need to go talk to other owners or gather stuff from the accountants, at least you know what you need to do. And then get back on that. Once you have everything like ready to go, it just be filling in the blank, and it won't be too difficult.
Okay. Well, we have no other questions, so I actually want to thank you, Wei Ming, for your time and for all this information. As I said, this will be available on our website. The webinar has been recorded. And I want to thank all the attendees today, and I hope you got something out of this, because this program is really a wonderful program. And if you're able to take advantage of it, please do.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to present information. And like I said, please think about spreading good news to whoever you know, and anyone who you use services for, I think can use a grant right now. So thank you so much for helping spread goodwill, as well as the wish that everyone remain well and that all small businesses thrive and excel in the state of New York. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Everyone have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.